All right, y'all. So Bitcoin is officially getting the death cross. We can see right here the 50 moving average is crossing below the 100 moving average on the daily time frame. And historically, the death cross is known as a very bearish signal. It is a bearish signal, potentially even signifying the entrance into a bear market. And so what I want to do today is I want to talk about the implications of this and also what I am expecting and what I am looking at for the future, especially as we head into a weekend, because weekends historically are very volatile. There's a lot of unexpected moves. So what can we expect? Well, it's important to notice that, a few months ago, we also did get a death cross here. And when we did get this death cross, yes, we did get a significant move to the downside, but it was actually the last move to the downside that we got, the lowest low that we put in that summertime little range before a big move to the upside. And if you notice, even after we got the death cross, if we just draw a line right here on the chart, we did not lose the important support that we had to hold before another move to the upside. And indeed, it was very important support. You can see we were holding support back here in the January, late December to early January time, and then we came back holding that support in the summer. Now, the two scenarios that I'm going to bring up in this video, one is a bit more bullish, one is a bit more bearish, but I think they're both very plausible scenarios. So scenario number one is that we do not lose the support that we put in right here. Very important support. We have a resistance flipped into support, support again right over here. We could see it was originally resistance back here in the summer. Then we had a support resistance flip over here in August, acting as support again in September. And now you can see we are back along this area of support. It's a very important level. And so the possibility one is that even if this bear cross, this death cross, brings us down a little bit lower potentially, where we won't actually close a candle below that important area of support. Okay, and we do get a move to the upside from here. That is scenario number one. Scenario number two is that this death cross brings us down a little bit lower. Now, we can look and see that these death crosses, they have happened quite often in the past. I just want to look at a few. So we had one back here right after the dump of March 2020. We had that massive dump to the downside on the 12th and the 13th of March 2020. And then we didn't get the death cross until the 25th of March 2020. And after we got that death cross on the 25th of March 2020, that was pretty much the entrance into the bull market. So the death cross actually gave us an entrance into a bull market. Okay, we had another death cross over here back on October 2019, and actually this death cross gave us a nice pump before it gave us a dump, and then another pump, and then we got a golden cross, which gave us a dump. So a lot of times these moving averages crossing over don't really mean much of anything. And if anything, there are a lot of hype. And also it's important to keep in mind that they are delayed indicators, right? This death cross is only happening because of what's happened historically with this massive downtrend that we've been trading in since November 9th, I think it was, November 10th, around that time. So these are things we need to keep in mind. Now let's talk about some actual levels that we can look for here when it comes to finding support. Okay, now first of all, I do want to talk about some local things before we move on. We are currently getting a bounce right here, and this is a bounce that I was actually hoping for this bounce, because if we come into the VIP Discord here and we come into the VIP technical analysis channel, we can see that we had a very high volume node right here, and I was looking for a bounce off this level of about 41,865. Then of course this morning you do see that we do get the bounce off of that level. Now, why is this level so important? This level is so important because not only is it a very high volume node, but it's also the trend line of this potential bump and run pattern. Okay, if we come over here and we maybe go to a 4-hour time frame and we turn on this, we can see that potentially we were forming this bump and run pattern. Now, a bump and run pattern, we can just Google it, bump and run pattern. this is one potential, guys, that is happening right now. A bump and run. Let me see if I can find a good bearish one to show us all. This is an example of a bump and run pattern. We hit into a diagonal resistance, we come down, we bump into it a few times, unable to break out, thrown down, rounded bottom, breakout, and then oftentimes we will come back down for a retest before moving to the upside. Now, I've been talking about this for a while, but we can see we had this diagonal resistance. We ran into it once, bumped into it a few times, thrown down before we came into this random bottom. And let me just quickly turn off this so we can see better. Had this random bottom, broke out of the resistance, and now we're coming back for a retest. And this retest is actually getting a pretty nice bounce right here, because not only did we come down to the high volume node that we got from all this volume down here, but also we perfectly hit this trend line for a nice bounce. I mean, literally to the dollar, we hit that trend line. And so I did take a long scalp off of here, but what we need to really be aware of is the fact that we could have some more downside. So I'm going to talk about that, but this is one possible bullish scenario that could continue to play out right here. We could actually get our bounce from right here. And by the way, if you do want to get into the VIP Discord, where I post daily technical analysis updates, trade setups, levels that I'm looking for, and stuff like that, you can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper. We also have a thriving community of traders in here posting really good technical analysis. K-Pax, White Phoenix, Spartan Wrestler, Dr. Harlequin, these guys are absolutely killing it with the TA guys. And so it's a great place to learn and stuff like that, so you could check that out. So this is a possible bump and run pattern playing out with a retest, okay? That is bullish scenario number one. Bullish scenario number two is the fact that we are still forming, and of course these are just scenarios, guys, we are still forming this falling wedge pattern. Now this falling wedge is a bullish pattern, right? It is a bullish pattern historically. When an asset consolidates, and it squeezes together as it comes down, all right, this is considered a bullish pattern. If we just Google falling wedge pattern, then we could see potentially something like this playing out, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we did come down to some very, very key areas of support recently. And if I go ahead and turn this on and I go to the 1st of January, I want to just take a look at the volume that Bitcoin traded from the 1st of January. You can see that we were pretty much, the year 2021 was not a bull market in any way, shape, or form. It was simply a sideways market, and it was a very emotional sideways market because the swings were so big, right? We're coming down from 30K to 65K to 30K to 65K, and then we're coming back down. So there's one other scenario that this falling wedge potentially could do for us. If you notice, what we have right here is called a value area, and a value area where these candles are shaded in is signifying the fair price of Bitcoin. Given all the Bitcoin that's traded, the fair value where we're not considered overbought, which would be above this line, and we're not considered oversold, which would be below this line, is where those candles are shaded. And whenever we come outside of that value area, we come back in, and whenever we come above this value area, I should say, you can notice we come back into the value area. And whenever we come below that value area, you can see we come back into it. Now, this is important because if we are simply trading in a sideways market, we would expect the price of Bitcoin to actually come a little bit lower, just to come below these shaded candles before getting a move to the upside. Now, why am I going through all this? The reason is because last time we came down here, like what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, where we got the death cross somewhere right in here, and we had one more big move to the downside, and then we never lost that support, right? And that support we had put in all the way back in the winter of 2020 and early 2021. Potentially the same thing now, where we will see that we come down and the death cross brings us down right around to this area, right around here, which we have never yet touched, by the way, the 39,300 area. And from that area, after the death cross, we come down here, put in a lower low, and then get a bounce from there and get a move to the upside, a real relief rally that could either give us a lower high on a macro time frame, I'm talking the daily time frame, or potentially even give us a higher high. And so if that does happen, one of my targets would be the $57,000 area. And the reason for the $57,000 area target is because, again, if we look at this as a sideways market, if we do come below this value area and get a move back inside, then the next probable place that we come up to is going to be the center point, which is right here at about 57,000. And not only that, if we take our Fibonacci golden pocket retracement from the all-time high to a potential low down here that we put in, that we have yet to put in, the golden pocket would line up really nicely right there. And of course, we don't know exactly where that's going to be yet. It could be, around different areas. If we come down exactly to the trend line, the 618 will have perfect confluence with that high volume node. And so it's just a probable scenario. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about if the death cross actually does bring us down very, very far, and we lose the important support that we have right here, okay? In fact, I would say that the important area of support that we need to hold would be this box right here, even coming down as low as 37. And then, because if we lose this little consolidation period here, we have very, very little until we come back down to the 30K region. So what if we lose this green box? Then what am I looking for? Well, first of all, there's a few areas. We do need to be aware of certain high volume nodes that we have in this area right here. We've got some high volume nodes around the $32,000 area. If we just look at the volume here, we can see these spikes in volume. Those are important areas. We also do have, if we take a fib retracement from the low of March 2020 to the all-time high, you can see that we do have the golden pocket coming in the high 20s. And so the scenario, the bearish scenario, if we don't get a move to the upside from here, at least in my book, is we will come down to the high 20s. I'm talking 26 to 29, right in this golden pocket where we have a lot of support down here. We have a lot of volume that traded here on the way up. 26K is one of the few areas where we actually did get some volume. And then again, if we lose that, honestly, we could see right here that we just have a lot of volume, a lot of trading sideways right here around the 23K area where we could find some support as well. And if we do lose that, then then I'm looking down to this 786 area between 15 and 17,000. And honestly, I think that between 15 and 17 is probably the lowest that we will see Bitcoin come. If we do enter into a very bearish market. So really those are the main levels, and these are the levels I'm really looking for as far as like my swing trading goes right now. And yeah, so I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you want to learn how to trade this way, if you want to learn how to mark out levels and stuff like that, you can go to jasoncaspertrading.com. I do have a trading course, and the course is great, guys. It has a lot of information. It will help you become a confident, profitable trader. If you are struggling to be a confident, profitable trader, we go through everything that you need to know in order to get started, which we can't really see right here because I messed up the HTML on my website. But it'll teach you how to have a plan, systematize your trading, and stuff like that. There's currently a 20% discount in the description at jasoncaspertrading.com. Thank you so much, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. God bless everybody. In the name of Yeshua the Messiah. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.